All diseases are caused due to emotional factors. There is no separation between the mind and the body. When you get anxious, you feel it in your chest. When you get angry, you feel it in your stomach. When you are afraid, you feel the fear in your whole body. When you are excited, you feel the elation in your entire body. When you get the spirit chills or what they call goosebumps all over your body, it is because you perceived something spooky or affirmed an intuition in your mind. When you get a cut in your finger, the cells around that cut know intuitively they have to heal it. How do the cells know if they don't have a mind of their own? Where is the mind? Many people ask. The brain is not the mind. Yes, the brain is a physical tool for the mind to carry out its agendas. For example, when you think you want to move your hand, your brain picks up that thought and sends a signal to your body, that is the hand, and then you are able to lift your hand. But the thought occurs at an intangible space within us, the mind. The mind is, in fact, in every cell of the body. Hence, when the mind is not at ease, it causes a dis-ease in the body. Every disease has an emotional cause behind it, even if it is a mere headache, flu, or the big ones like cancer and Alzheimer's. Asthma, for example, is an autoimmune disease. An autoimmune disease is where the immune system attacks the body's healthy cells. Now, the emotional factors that cause asthma are a feeling of suffocation in life, a sensation of drowning, crying suppressed. Asthma occurs in children whose parents are stressed all the time. Bronchitis, for instance, is caused due to difficulties in the family environment, arguments and shouts, domestic violence, invalidation of emotions, or sheer indifference. Bronchitis patients often get asthma later in their lives. Allergies are caused due to denial of one's power, suppression, etc. Heart problems stem from unhealed emotional pain of the past, hardening of the heart over time, tension and stress. Lower back pain occurs due to a fear of being broke or not having financial support. But when you go to a doctor for cure, they don't treat the emotional cause of the disease. They don't ask your family history. They don't ask about your relationship with your parents, spouse, sibling, or even with your work colleagues. They don't ask if you are hurting emotionally and to share your pain, which actually reduces half the symptoms. They treat it superficially by prescribing drugs that suppress the symptoms. But those medicines don't heal the root cause of the disease. Then either you get sick again as the body manifests the dis-ease in the mind through another physical illness, or the side effects of those lifelong drugs give you more illnesses to deal with. How do they treat asthma, for example? They put you on steroids. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Foracort, Aerocort, Budacort, all those inhalers have cortisol in them. It is like inducing more stress in the body so the immune system will react. Do you think such a treatment can ever cure asthma? And I am not even taking into account the extremely harmful effects of the steroids on the body in the first place. How do they treat psychotic and other mental disorders, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, etc.? Again, they give you drugs to sedate the mind and suppress those symptoms on a superficial level, but they don't treat the real cause of the disturbed mind. And so, when the symptoms are suppressed, what happens? It once again comes out through another source, creating more disorders in the mind and body. Diabetes drugs, for example, in the long run, destroy your internal organs like kidney, liver, causing blindness, imbalance, fatigue, deteriorating memory, loss of fingers, toes, etc. But diabetes is caused due to repression of anger, for example, as the body releases endorphins due to such an act. In the long run, when the body is high on endorphins, it affects glucose metabolism. Hence, your glucose level goes up, insulin goes down, and you get type 2 diabetes. To treat diabetes is to deal with the anger. To understand this more, watch my video titled Why Many Tibetan Monks Have Diabetes. People who suffer from diabetes have lost the joy of life. There is no trace of sweetness in their lives. It stems from a greater need to control life's experiences and emotions, a feeling of remorse of what could have been instead of what is. People are hurting inside, so they get sick. Then they go to doctors who give them drugs to suppress their symptoms. But the real cause of the sickness still doesn't go away that way. Then perhaps after a lot of suffering and internal pain, they seek spirituality that promises nirvana. And most spiritual gurus, what do they teach? Tolerate everyone, forgive your enemies, love is the answer, be joyful no matter what, reject the monkey mind and other such oneness concepts which may be valid from a spiritual perspective, but they do nothing to relieve the emotional pain of people. In fact, most of these teachings put us at a place of more self-rejection and self-abandonment. While in the absolute sense we are indeed all one, we have created the separation on the physical plane to provide a context in order to experience our oneness through others. Spiritual people especially have the most difficulties in relationships as they cannot distinguish when to practice oneness and when to own their individuality. Relationships are our biggest mirrors. Imagine a spouse continuously abusing you and you are like, let me love him and be kind to him because we are one. No, it doesn't work that way. Your body resists and you get diabetes. It cannot be intellectualized like that. Those feelings of forgiveness and love have to be embodied. But after feeling the anger first and perhaps leaving that abusive connection for your own good, after that you can love your enemy all you want and forgive them for their misdoings. After all, forgiving is something you do for yourself, not for them. Because otherwise your enemy controls you. So in the end, it is a selfish act. So why not love yourself and be kind to yourself first? To understand this better, watch my video titled, Anger is Okay, but why? Emotions are our internal guidance systems. They are like a compass helping us navigate life, informing us of our inner states of being and our truths at any given moment. When we are hurting, it is usually at an emotional level. Pain, trauma, loss, suffering, judgment, misbeliefs all create emotions. And these emotions need to be processed and released by the mind and the body so that our well-being is not affected by them. However, in our positive obsessed world, people will tell you to shove your uncomfortable emotions, ignore or plain disregard them, and over time you will contract chronic illnesses having repressed your emotions for too long. Our thoughts and emotions affect our immune system, nervous system, endocrine system. Emotions are dictated to a large extent by culture. Cultural conditioning has a huge impact on our behavior. Studies show our immune system is affected more due to cultural factors than genetics. You cannot trick the body's internal mechanism of defense. We are mind, body, and spirit within a cultural context. And culture is formed based on the religions, traditions, belief systems, moral values, societal dictates, family principles, spirituality of any particular city, country, or continent we exist in. So everything is cultural. Biology is cultural. Medicine is cultural. Religion is cultural. Society is cultural. Belief systems are cultural. Spirituality is cultural. And every culture conceptualizes and treats illnesses in its own way. That is why there is such a vast difference in people's morals, ethics, behaviors, values, beliefs, thoughts, perceptions, religious doctrines, spiritual practices from culture to culture. I have literally grown up in different cultures across 5 continents. And at the tender age of 17, I left my country, having won scholarships to study abroad. Since then, I have not just traveled but lived in different countries across the globe on various student exchange programs, studying life through diverse mirrors of reality, trying to understand human suffering, dysfunctional belief systems, the cause of all diseases, and so on. From Asia to Europe, to Africa, to South America, Central America, and North America, I have lived with local families, eating their food, adopting their lifestyles, contributing to their economy, living their culture, speaking their language, navigating extreme realities and harsh conditions, attending weddings and religious events, perceiving diverse traditions and religions whence belief systems and cultural values are formed, scanning the energy of each country I was in for many years to find answers to life's most pertinent questions. Coming from a conservative family background in India, I have had to overcome many cultural limitations to do this. So I am coming from that space when I say every belief system in the world is different, but thinks they are the only ones who are right and condemns others. To understand this further, watch my video titled Beliefs Are the Root of All Suffering. The immune system of the body is an affirmer, not a protector. It confirms our beliefs and acts accordingly. If you have an empowered consciousness, you will have an empowered immune system. If you have a disempowered consciousness, you will have a defenseless immune system. And the immune system does not function at an intellectual level. It has to be at the level of mind-body, where it can be affected and conditioned. For instance, if you have a genetic predisposition to a particular disease, it's not necessary that you will get it. It depends on how you live your life and what you come to believe is true for you. So you see, we round back to belief systems. There are many ways to liberate stuck emotions and past traumas held in the emotional body since childhood. Emotional freedom technique or EFT tapping is an excellent way to process our unresolved emotions and release them by tapping onto the meridian or energy points in the upper body. Another great way is inner child work, which is a form of shadow work. Self-soothing, self-compassion increases the IgA levels in the body that are great boosters of the immune system. Being unconditionally present with ourselves during our own difficult times, giving ourselves love, compassion, and the permission to feel, finding a willing friend with a listening ear to share, not judging or isolating ourselves are methods of self-soothing. You cannot fool the immune system or just say, okay, I have worked through my emotions. It cannot be intellectualized like that. It has to be felt in the body. So breathe into it. Visualize that uncomfortable feeling at the center of your chest. Surround it with white or golden light. Breathe into it and slowly let it go. Shadow work, in short, is radical self-acceptance. In conclusion, every dis-ease is caused due to an underlying emotional factor. But when we seek medical help, we end up having pharmaceutical drugs put into our bodies that damage our very delicate etheric bodies which are beginning to cleanse and purge itself of the damaging programming and inputs that have been there inside of us for no one knows how long. Many people on the planet are having spontaneous spiritual awakenings when the body is going through immense turbulence, panic attacks, aches and pains, and the emotional body is rising from the solar plexus to the heart center. This is a form of ascension. More about it in another video. Ciao for now.